You know that guy who has $500 million in the bank but lives like he just sold his plasma TV to pay the rent? Yeah. Welcome to America, where having money doesn't mean having money, where being rich is basically a schizophrenic state of mind, and where the upper middle class spends more time worrying about recession than the guy who literally lives under a bridge eating cold ramen. Let's be serious here. Have you ever stopped to think how it's possible for someone to have more money than the GDP of some African countries and still wake up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat because the stock market fell 2%? It's like being afraid of dying of thirst while you're swimming in the middle of the ocean. It doesn't make sense, but here we are, in the land of freedom and home equity lines of credit. The truth is, wealthy Americans have developed an impressive ability to turn abundance into anxiety. It's almost artistic. You have an investment portfolio that would easily yield enough to support 3 generations of your family, but God forbid the Fed raises interest rates by 0.25%. That's the end of the world. Then you cancel the renovation of your summer home in Martha's Vineyard and start buying toilet paper at Costco like normal people. And it's not just paranoia, it's a structured, sophisticated paranoia with Excel spreadsheets and quarterly meetings with the wealth manager. Because here in the United States, we're not simply afraid of losing money. We're afraid of losing status, of losing relevance, of having to explain to Chad at the country club that you can't invest in the new venture capital fund because you're reorganizing your finances, which is basically code for, "I'm almost going broke, Chad. Leave me alone." Here's the thing. While the Brazilian with 500 million has already bought the Ferrari, the mansion, the helicopter, and is having a barbecue every Sunday with golden picanha, the American with the same amount of money is driving a 2012 Toyota Prius because it's more economical and saving every penny as if the Great Depression were going to return next Thursday. It's a special kind of financial neurosis that only flourishes on American soil. And there's more. These people aren't just afraid of losing the money they have. They're afraid of not making money that doesn't yet exist. It's like that episode of Family Guy where Peter gets obsessed with discount coupons, except instead of coupons, they're investment opportunities that may or may not materialize in the next 15 years. What if I miss this chance to invest in a dog meditation app startup? What if this is the next Uber? Calm down, Todd. Breathe. Your 500 million will still be there tomorrow. The American economy works like this. It's a big theater where everyone pretends to be broke but everyone's rich. Or everyone pretends to be rich but is actually broke. Sometimes even they don't know anymore. The important thing is to keep up appearances and never, ever, under any circumstances, admit that you're comfortable. Because being comfortable is for losers. Here you always have to be optimizing, always diversifying, always rebalancing your portfolio. If you're not in a constant state of financial alert, you're not a true American. And look how ironic. The guy has enough money to never work a day in his life, but he works 60 hours a week. Why? Because stopping work is admitting defeat. It's like that. Workaholic who says he loves what he does, but is actually just avoiding spending time with his family or facing the existential emptiness of suburban life. So he stays there, in the office, doing yet another conference call at 8 o'clock at night, accumulating more money he'll never spend while his wife is at home drinking Chardonnay and flirting with the personal trainer. You know what the secret is? There is no secret. It's all a big collective lie that we accept because it's part of the cultural package. You're born, you go to school, you get good grades, you get into an expensive university that leaves you in debt until you're 30, you get a well-paying but soul-draining job, you buy a house you don't need with money, you don't have to impress people you don't like, and then when you finally have real money, you develop chronic anxiety about losing it all. It's the American dream, baby, beautifully broken. And the media doesn't help. Every day there's some financial expert on CNBC saying a recession is coming. Every single day. It's like that guy who keeps predicting the end of the world. Eventually he'll be right, but until then he'll leave you paranoid and dysfunctional. Then you have these billionaires going on TV talking about hard times while sitting on a yacht the size of an apartment building. Yes, Jim, we're going through a period of economic uncertainty, says the guy who literally just bought his third private island. Give me a break. The inconvenient truth is that the American economy is driven by fear and greed in equal measure. And the rich have learned to turn that fear into profit, because when everyone is scared, someone is making money off of it. Usually the same guys who are on TV scaring you. It's like that scheme where you create the problem and sell the solution. Brilliant. Diabolical. But brilliant. And then there's the hustle culture, right? That idiotic idea that you always have to be running, always doing more, always striving for the next level. The guy has 500 million, but he's doing a side hustle selling online courses on how to get rich. Because apparently 500 million isn't enough. You need 501 million, and then 502. It's an addiction. It's like that episode where Stewie gets addicted to pancakes, except instead of pancakes, it's zeros in the bank account. Here's a truth nobody wants to hear. Most of these people aren't afraid of becoming poor. They're afraid of becoming irrelevant. Because in the United States, especially among the elite, your value as a human being is directly proportional to your net worth. You're not interesting for what you think, for what you create, for your ideas. You're interesting for how much you're worth. And that creates a deep existential anxiety that no amount of money can solve. So you have these guys in therapy with psychologists who charge $500 an hour to talk about the anxiety of having too much money. Meanwhile, there are people working 3 jobs to pay for health insurance and eating spaghetti with ketchup for dinner. But the system wasn't designed to make sense. It was designed to work. And it does work. Like a broken machine that still produces results, only it's incredibly noisy and sprays oil everywhere. And look at the absurdity of the situation. These same guys who are afraid of the economy are the ones who control the economy. It's like being afraid of the monster under the bed when you literally are the monster. They are the CEOs, the investors, the board members. They make the decisions that affect millions of people, and they're scared shitless of losing money. So what do? They make even more conservative decisions, cut costs, lay off employees, raise prices. And then the prophecy is self-fulfilling. The economy really does get worse, but not because of mystical market forces, because of the irrational fear of those in control. It's like that self-fulfilling prophecy thing you learn about in sociology class, but applied to late capitalism. Everyone acts like a catastrophe is about to happen, then eventually something bad happens, and then everyone says, "See? I knew it," even though they themselves caused the situation. It's like Peter Griffin making terrible decisions and then being surprised that it went wrong. Except instead of being funny, it's just sad and affects the lives of millions of people. But you know what's even crazier? It's become cultural. It's become part of the American identity. Being rich and anxious isn't a bug. It's a feature. It's practically a badge of honor. Look how responsible and concerned about the future I am. No, Craig, you just have unresolved issues from childhood and have turned wealth accumulation into a psychological defense mechanism. But okay, let's call it fiscal prudence, if it helps you sleep at night. And then there's the social comparison, too. Because you might have 500 million, but Jeff has 550, and that eats you up inside. It doesn't matter that you have more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes. What matters is that someone else has more. It's like those kids on the playground fighting over which Power Ranger is the best, except it's 50-year-old adults fighting over who has the bigger yacht. The most bizarre part is that this mentality contaminates everyone. Even those who don't have 500 million develop the same anxiety. The guy earning $60,000 a year is stressed about the same kind of thing as the billionaire, just on a different scale. It's the democratization of financial neurosis. Everyone's in the same sinking boat, only some have bigger boats. And then comes the million-dollar question, or the $500 million question in this case. Why on earth do we accept this? Why have we normalized the idea that having abundant resources must be a source of constant stress? The answer is simple and depressing. Because we've been programmed for it. From a young age, you learn that success means money, and that money is never enough. It's like that rat on the wheel experiment, except the wheel is made of gold, and the rat wears a Rolex, but it's still just a rat running in circles. The entire system is built on this premise of perpetual dissatisfaction. If people were satisfied, they would stop consuming. They would stop working like slaves. They would stop chasing more, and then the economy would stop. So we keep everyone in the race, even the winners, especially the winners, because if even they are worried, imagine the rest. So here's your secret, not so secret after all. There's no such thing as financial security that can cure emotional insecurity. You can have all the money in the world and still wake up at 3 in the morning wondering if you made the right choices. Because the problem isn't financial. It never was. The problem is existential. It's about meaning. It's about purpose. It's about trying to fill an inner void with numbers in a bank account. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. But we keep trying. Because admitting that money doesn't solve everything is admitting that we've spent our whole lives chasing the wrong thing. And that hurts too much. So it's easier to stay in denial, keep accumulating, keep worrying, keep pretending that just 1 more million will finally bring peace. It won't. But it's a comfortable illusion. Like believing that the government really cares about you or that your vote matters. These are necessary lies to keep the machine running. Ultimately, the guy with $500 million and fear of the economy is just a perfect symbol of the modern human condition. Rich in resources, poor in serenity, with all the opportunities in the world, but trapped in a mental prison, free to do anything but a slave to his own anxiety. It's tragicomic. It's American. It's absolutely ridiculous and completely real at the same time. So the next time you find yourself stressed about money, remember this. There are people up there with more zeros in their bank accounts than you can imagine going through the same hell. This won't solve your problems, but at least you know that suffering is democratic, rich and poor, all equally miserable, just with different bank statements. God bless America.